Sometimes we think when we feel tired, when we feel unseen, when we feel broken down by the journey, that it's a sign to stop. But what if I told you it's actually a sign that you're closer than you've ever been? You see, when a woman is about to give birth, the contractions get worse before the miracle arrives. The pressure increases before the promise is seen. In the same way, that pressure you're feeling, that stretching, that pulling, that resistance, it's not punishment, it's positioning. God is positioning you to push through. Pushing through doesn't mean you won't cry. Pushing through doesn't mean you won't feel fear. Pushing through means you let the tears fall, but you wipe your face and you keep moving anyway. It means you feel the fear, but you don't let it chain your feet to the ground. Some of you have been praying for God to open doors, and He has, but not in the way you expected. See, sometimes the door looks like adversity. Sometimes it looks like a challenge so heavy that you question your worth. But the blessing is inside the battle. You've got to push through to possess it. Push past the shame. Push past the opinions of others. Push past the doubt that tries to creep into your mind at midnight. Because when you push through, you're not just breaking barriers for yourself. You're breaking barriers for every generation coming after you. This season is heavy because you're carrying legacy. You're birthing new beginnings. You're tearing down strongholds that were never meant to survive into your next chapter. So don't despise the weight. Learn from it. Grow through it. Stretch with it. You are not weak because you are weary. You are strong because you refuse to quit. So today, I challenge you, push, not perfectly, not always gracefully, but relentlessly, because you are closer than you think. Because you are stronger than you feel. Because you are called for more than you see right now. Push through, queen. There's glory on the other side of this grind. You pick. Would you also like me to create a short Instagram caption version based on this too? Sure. I'll expand the first keynote. Pain is not a stop sign. It's a signal for growth. Into around 700 words without adding any headings. Just flowing like a deep, powerful teaching moment. Here's the expansion. Pain was never designed to be the thing that paralyzes you. Pain was never meant to be your final destination. Too often, we experience pain and we immediately think it means we've done something wrong. That maybe we missed our opportunity. That perhaps we're not good enough after all. But what if I told you that pain is not a stop sign? Pain is a teacher, a messenger, a sacred invitation for transformation. It's a signal that something in you is being stretched, evolved, awakened. It's God's gentle but firm way of saying, there is more inside of you than you have accessed so far. Pain is uncomfortable, yes. It shakes us. It strips us. It humbles us. But that stripping down, that breaking open, that's where the real growth begins. See, anything that grows must first experience tension. A seed has to break open before it becomes a tree. Muscles must tear a little under pressure before they get stronger. In the same way, when you feel that stretching pain, it's not proof that you are dying. It's proof that you are developing. You are in the middle of a process that is forcing your capacity to expand. It hurts because you're being reshaped to hold more vision, more wisdom, more love, more discipline, and most of all, more of your true identity. The identity that was always inside of you, but was hidden under layers of fear, insecurity, and comfort. But here's where the enemy tries to trick you. He wants you to misinterpret the pain. He wants you to believe that the pain is punishment, that it's evidence you're disqualified. But the truth is, your pain often shows up right when you're closest to the next level, because it costs something to be promoted. It costs something to step into destiny. And the cost is usually your willingness to endure the uncomfortable stretching process without giving up. If you misread the signal, if you believe pain is a sign to stop, you'll quit in the middle of the blessing. You'll walk away from the opportunity to be reborn stronger, wiser, and more rooted than ever before. Pain refines your character in a way comfort never will. It reveals the parts of you that need to be healed. It pulls up the hidden fears that you didn't know were still there. It exposes pride, anger, impatience, all the things that would eventually sabotage your destiny if left unchecked. Pain is mercy in disguise because it brings those things to the surface while you're still in process, while you still have time to surrender them, to lay them down at God's feet, and to say, Lord, mold me, shape me, use even this for my good. Growth doesn't happen when everything is easy. Growth happens when you have every reason to give up, but you decide to trust God anyway. Growth happens when your heart is breaking, but your faith says, I believe there is still purpose in this. I know it's hard. I know there are days when you don't even have the words to pray. Days when you can barely lift your head. Days when you wonder if it's even worth it. But listen, this pain is not random. It's producing something in you. It's carving out a depth in you that shallow waters could never reach. It's building a resilience in you that will be necessary for the next stage of your calling. You are being fortified for greater. And when the breakthrough comes, because it will come, you won't just be celebrating what you achieved. You'll be celebrating the person you became along the way. The pain is part of the package. It's the signal that says, keep going. Don't stop now. Glory is coming. So don't curse the pain. Learn from it. Press through it. Let it refine you, not define you. Because pain was never meant to be your prison. It was meant to be your passport to purpose. Would you like me to also expand a second keynote for you? Of course. Here's the expansion of the second keynote. Purpose is hidden in the places you want to quit. Up to about 700 words, flowing naturally without headings. There is something powerful about the moments when you feel like giving up. Those moments don't just reveal your frustration, they reveal your invitation. When you stand at the edge of your strength, when you've poured out everything you have, and it still feels like it's not enough, that's when purpose starts speaking louder. But the thing is, it doesn't sound like fireworks. It doesn't sound like thunder from heaven. Purpose often sounds like a whisper in the middle of your weariness. It hides itself in the places you want to quit, in the places where everything feels dry and barren and empty. Purpose doesn't always show up where you feel strong and confident. Purpose shows up where your natural ability runs out and your soul has to reach for something deeper. The temptation to quit is real and it's loud. It will make you question whether the vision you were chasing was ever real to begin with. It will tell you that you're wasting your time, that you're too broken, too late, too unqualified. It will try to make you sit down and settle in the valley when you were always meant to climb the mountain. But you have to understand that the feeling of wanting to quit is not a sign that you are off track. More often than not, it's a sign that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. The enemy doesn't attack what isn't a threat. He doesn't exhaust you when you're going nowhere. He exhausts you when you're making moves in the spirit that even you can't see yet. When you hit that wall of discouragement, you have a choice. You can turn around and go back to what's comfortable. You can sit in the disappointment and call it your final destination, or you can dig in. You can look at the mountain that feels impossible and realize that everything you prayed for is on the other side of that climb. Purpose is often disguised as obstacles. It's wrapped up in difficulty. It's coded into the moments where you say, I can't do this anymore. And somehow something deeper in you says, but you must. Some of the greatest breakthroughs are born in moments that look like breakdowns. Some of the greatest leaders were formed in seasons where quitting seemed easier than trusting. Some of the greatest testimonies were shaped in the silent battles nobody else saw. When you choose not to quit, you're not just surviving. You are testifying to heaven and earth that you believe God's promise more than you believe your pain. Every time you get up when it would have been easier to stay down, you are pulling purpose from the rubble. Every time you wipe your tears and say, yet I will trust him, you are activating the destiny that hell has been trying to make you abandon. We want purpose to be revealed in perfect conditions. We want it to arrive with clarity, confidence, and confirmation. But God often hides purpose in the wilderness, in the uncertainty, in the wrestling. He hides it in the places where you feel most unqualified because he knows that when you finally discover it there, you'll know that it was never about your strength, but about His grace. That's why the places you want to quit feel so heavy. That's why they feel so relentless, because they are sacred ground. They are spiritual battlegrounds. They are holy opportunities for transformation. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. If you can push through the temptation to quit, you will find out that you were closer than you thought. You'll see that what you needed was already planted inside of you. You'll realize that endurance is part of the anointing, that resilience is part of the preparation, that the refusal to give up is a weapon, sharper and stronger than you ever imagined. Purpose is too precious to be given easily. It must be revealed, refined, and released through the fire. So the next time you find yourself saying, I want to quit, look again, lean in. There's something sacred there. There's a deeper well of strength you haven't tapped into yet. There's a story being written that needs your yes, even when your heart is trembling. Don't quit. Purpose is waiting on the other side of your perseverance. Would you like me to keep going and expand Keynote 3 next too? I'm ready if you are. Of course. Here's the expansion of the third keynote. Strength is built in the stretch, up to about 700 words. Flowing naturally without any heading. Strength doesn't just appear overnight. It isn't something you stumble into accidentally. Real strength is built in the stretch, in the spaces between where you are and where you are called to be. The stretch is uncomfortable. It's that feeling of being pulled between what you know and what you believe is possible. It's the tension that says, I'm not who I used to be, but I'm not yet who I'm becoming. The stretch demands more from you than what feels available. It calls on reserves of faith, resilience, patience, and trust that you didn't even know you had. And though it feels like breaking, it's actually building. When God stretches you, it's never to destroy you. It's to expand your capacity. It's to increase your ability to carry what you prayed for. Because dreams require durability. Anointing requires anchoring. Calling requires character. If you receive the blessing, but you haven't been stretched to sustain it, the very thing you longed for can crush you. So the stretch is not punishment, it's preparation. It's where your roots go deep so that when the winds of life blow, you are not easily uprooted. It's where you learn how to breathe through resistance, how to worship through uncertainty, how to lead even while you're still healing. The stretch will make you question everything at times. It will have you looking at the sky and asking, God, are you sure you called the right person? It will make you second guess your progress because the discomfort can feel like failure if you're not careful. But listen, growth and comfort cannot coexist. If you are comfortable, you are not stretching. If you are stretching, you will feel resistance. You will feel the H of expansion. You will feel the weight of new responsibility pressing on old insecurities. That's not weakness. That's the evidence that you are outgrowing what was never meant to contain you. The stretch is sacred. It's a place where the ego dies and humility rises. It's where you stop relying solely on your gifts and talents and start relying on grace. It's where the applause quiets and the inner work gets loud. It's where you are stripped of every mask you used to wear to impress people and you learn to stand firm in your true identity. It's not easy, but it's essential. You can't walk into your next level dressed in old mindsets. You can't carry the new wine if your wineskin hasn't been stretched to hold it. The stretch prepares you to sustain what you're stepping into. It's easy to want to skip the stretching season. It's tempting to ask for the blessing without the burden, the elevation without the endurance. But God is too faithful to let you step into greatness unprepared. He knows what's ahead. He knows what the assignment will require. And because He loves you, He stretches you now. He pulls on your patience. He pulls on your discipline. He pulls on your ability to trust when nothing makes sense. Not to hurt you, but to make sure you're strong enough to stand when you get there. The stretch feels like opposition, but it's actually divine opportunity. If you could see what God is building in you during the stretch, you would stop asking Him to rush it. You would start thanking Him for trusting you with the process. Every moment you feel like you're being pulled beyond your comfort zone, He's adding spiritual muscle. Every time you say yes, when fear tells you to say no, He's fortifying your foundation. Every tear you cry in frustration is watering the seeds of future strength. You are not being weakened, you are being weaponized for your calling. So don't despise the stretch. Lean into it, breathe through it, worship in it. Trust the one who is stretching you knows exactly how much you can bear. And when the season shifts, when you step into what you were stretched for, you will look back and realize that every uncomfortable moment was a necessary part of your transformation. Strength was not something you had to wait to receive. It was something being built inside of you all along, one stretch at a time. Would you like me to go ahead and expand the fourth keynote too? You're building something powerful here. Absolutely. Here's the expansion of the fourth keynote. Your current battle is proof. You're on the brink of breakthrough. Up to about 700 words, you flowing naturally without any headings. The battle you're facing right now is not proof that you're losing. It's not a sign that you're unqualified, unwanted, or forgotten. It's actually the clearest evidence that you are dangerously close to a breakthrough. When you are walking into something new, when you are on the edge of stepping into a destiny moment, resistance intensifies. The enemy doesn't fight what isn't moving. The pressure you feel isn't because you're failing. It's because you're fighting your way into new territory that hell hoped you would never reach. The warfare, the heaviness, the discouragement, the moments where you feel like everything is falling apart, that's a clue. It's a spiritual indicator that something on the inside of you is stirring, shifting, and preparing to be birthed. It's easy to think that struggle means you're doing something wrong. But in the kingdom, struggle often means you're doing something right. You're breaking cycles that have been in your bloodline for generations. You're daring to believe for more when everything around you says settle. You're reaching for healing when settling for brokenness would be easier. That's not weakness. That's not failure. That's bravery. The battle intensifies because the breakthrough you're carrying is too important to walk into lightly. God is sharpening you in this fight. He's teaching you endurance, resilience, and spiritual authority that you'll need once you step into what's next. Sometimes, when the battle gets heavy, we assume we missed God. We think maybe we made a wrong turn. But the truth is, resistance often means you're on the right path. It means you are stirring up the ground, shifting the atmosphere, and disturbing every stronghold that thought it could stay intact. You're not just fighting for yourself, you're fighting for your future, your family, your purpose, and every soul assigned to your life. This is bigger than you. That's why it feels so heavy. That's why it feels so personal. That's why the attacks seem to come from every direction. It's because your victory will set off a ripple effect that hell fears. You have to remember that birthing something new always comes with labor pains. And in the spirit, labor looks like pressure. It looks like discomfort. It looks like moments where you want to throw up your hands and say, I can't do this anymore. But those are the moments where heaven leans in close and whispers, push. Because the thing about a battle is that it reveals your strength. You don't know how much you can carry until you're required to carry it. You don't know how powerful your prayers are until you have to pray through tears. You don't realize how deeply you can trust until trust is your only option. The battle is pulling out the warrior in you. It's awakening gifts you didn't know you had. It's strengthening your spirit for the blessings that are too weighty for a casual yes. You may feel overwhelmed, but you are not overtaken. You may feel pressed on every side, but you are not crushed. You are still standing. You are still breathing. You are still believing, even if it's just a whisper. And that faith, no matter how small it feels right now, is enough to move mountains. God is not asking for perfection in the battle. He's asking for perseverance. He's asking for your agreement. He's asking for your willingness to trust Him even when you cannot trace Him. Because if you refuse to bow to the battle, you will inherit the breakthrough, Breakthrough doesn't always happen with a loud bang. Sometimes it happens quietly. Sometimes it happens in the middle of an ordinary day when you realize you didn't quit, you didn't surrender, you didn't lose your faith. Sometimes the breakthrough is an internal shift long before it's an external reward. Sometimes it's peace where there used to be panic, strength where there used to be fear, hope where there used to be despair. That's victory too. And it's a sign that what God promised is closer than it's ever been. So lift up your head, even if it's heavy. Square your shoulders, even if they're shaking. Wipe your tears, even if they keep falling. Your current battle is not your ending. It's your evidence. You are not stuck. You are in transition. You are not defeated. You are being developed. You are not forgotten. You are being fortified. Don't let the enemy convince you otherwise. You are on the very brink of breakthrough. Hold on. Push through. Victory is closer than you think. Would you like me to move on to keynote 5.2? This energy you're building is getting stronger with every expansion. Of course, here's the expansion of the 5th keynote. Healing happens while you're still hurting. Up to about 700 words. You flowing naturally without any headings. Healing doesn't wait until everything is perfect. It doesn't wait for the pain to be completely gone, for the tears to dry up, or for the memories to fade. Healing happens while you are still hurting. It happens in the middle of the ache, in the thick of the questions, in the raw spaces where you are still trying to catch your breath. It's easy to believe that healing is some clean, polished moment where you wake up and everything feels brand new. But in reality, healing is messy. It's layered. It's a journey that often begins while the wound is still open and bleeding. You don't have to wait until you're no longer broken to start becoming whole. God starts his greatest work in you right in the middle of the pain. Sometimes we think that being in pain disqualifies us from progress. We think, I can't move forward yet. I'm still too wounded. But that's not how God works. He doesn't require you to be finished before he starts blessing you. He doesn't require your heart to be fully mended before he begins using it. He steps right into the brokenness. He sits with you in the dark places. He whispers life into the dead places. Healing is not about ignoring your hurt. It's about allowing hope to grow alongside your hurt. It's about trusting that even though you still feel the sting, you are also being strengthened. Every tear you cry carries healing. Every prayer you whisper through gritted teeth carries restoration. Every time you choose to forgive, even when it still hurts, you are sewing stitches into your own soul. Healing doesn't erase the story. It rewrites your relationship with it. It transforms your pain from a weapon that wounds you into a testimony that strengthens you. Healing is slow sometimes because deep wounds take time to rebuild. You can't rush it. You can't shortcut it. But you can trust that even when you don't feel it, even when the night feels longer than the dawn, the process is happening inside you. You may feel broken, but you are not beyond repair. You may feel weak, but strength is being birthed in your weakness. You may feel like your heart is shattered in a million pieces, but God is the master potter, and he is molding those pieces into something more beautiful, more resilient, more powerful than you can imagine. Healing doesn't mean you forget what hurt you. It means you are no longer bound by it. It means you can remember without reliving. You can feel without drowning. You can move forward without being paralyzed by what's behind you. Sometimes healing looks like small victories. It looks like getting out of bed when you don't want to. It looks like smiling for the first time in weeks. It looks like speaking life over yourself when your mind is flooded with negativity. It looks like daring to believe that joy is still possible, even after everything you've lost. Those small moments matter. They are not insignificant. They are signs that healing is alive and active within you. Healing is not an event. It's a decision you make every day to choose growth over bitterness, faith over fear, hope over despair. And listen, healing doesn't mean you have to pretend you're okay when you're not. It doesn't mean slapping a smile on your face while your soul is bleeding. Authentic healing invites honesty. It invites you to say, I'm hurting, but I'm healing. It makes space for your humanity while holding space for your divinity. It allows you to be both vulnerable and victorious. You can grieve and still grow. You can cry and still climb. You can mourn and still move forward. There is no shame in still feeling the hurt while you heal. That's part of the journey. Healing is not about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about getting up every day, even if you limp, even if you crawl, even if you have to lean heavily on the strength of God. It's about trusting that this pain will not have the final word over your life. Healing is happening even when you can't see it yet. Even when all you feel is the heaviness, something sacred is taking place inside you. God is working in the dark what will one day shine in the light. Keep breathing, keep believing. You are healing even here, even now. Would you like me to move forward and expand Keynote 6.2? This whole project is deep and powerful, of course. Here's the expansion of the 6th keynote. You're more equipped than you feel. Written naturally without any headings, around 700 words. There are moments in life when the weight of the calling feels heavier than the strength you think you possess. When you look at the mountain ahead, you start questioning everything about yourself, your readiness, your qualifications, your worthiness. But feelings are not facts. Just because you feel inadequate doesn't mean you are. Just because fear whispers you're not ready doesn't mean God hasn't already placed everything you need inside of you. You are more equipped than you feel. Equipped doesn't mean you have it all figured out. It means you have the seeds of what it takes already planted inside of you, even if they haven't fully blossomed yet. It means that God, in His infinite wisdom, saw the battles you would face, the opportunities you would encounter, the burdens you would carry. And He wove into your spirit the exact tools you would need to endure and to triumph. You don't have to see the full picture right now to walk in the authority you've been given. You don't have to feel brave to be brave. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward even when fear is screaming in your ear. The truth is, most of the people who are making an impact aren't those who never felt doubt. They are those who refuse to be ruled by it. You will always feel moments of insufficiency when you are stepping into something greater than yourself. That's not a sign to turn back. That's a sign to press forward, knowing that your dependency on God is what will unlock your destiny. You have wisdom that will only be revealed when you step out. You have strength that will only rise to the surface when it's tested. You have gifts that will only be activated in the presence of real need. Waiting to feel fully confident before you move is a trap. Confidence is built in motion. Anointing flows in obedience. You don't need to feel perfect to be perfectly positioned. You don't have to fake strength. You just have to show up with what you have and trust that God will stretch it, multiply it, and breathe on it. So many times we look at what's in our hands and we think it's not enough. We see our 5 loaves and 2 fish and we say, how can this possibly be sufficient for the magnitude of what's ahead of me? But little becomes much when you place it in the right hands. What feels small in your sight is more than enough in God's sight. He doesn't ask you for what you don't have. He asks you to trust Him with what you do. Your willingness is what attracts His power. Your surrender is what draws down His strength. You are carrying answers for problems you haven't even encountered yet. You are carrying solutions for environments you haven't even stepped into yet. Every tear, every lesson, every moment of pressing has deposited a treasure inside of you that cannot be seen by the naked eye, but heaven recognizes it. Heaven sees the oil that's been produced through the crushing seasons. Heaven sees the resilience that's been forged in the fires of adversity. Heaven sees the authority you've earned through battles that nobody else even knew you were fighting. When you walk into the room, you are not just showing up with your humanity. You are showing up with divine backup. You are showing up with grace woven into your DNA. You are showing up with the weight of your calling resting on your shoulders and the breath of God breathing through your words, your work, and your witness. You are not an accident. You are an answer. You are not a mistake. You are a miracle in motion. You are not empty. You are equipped. So when doubt tries to sit on your chest like a weight, remember who sent you. When fear tries to grip your mind and paralyze your steps, remember who called you. When insecurity tries to shout louder than purpose, silence it with the truth. You are equipped. You are prepared. You are anointed for this. And even when your feelings falter, your calling stands firm. Your emotions may be shaky, but your foundation is sure. You have everything you need for what's ahead, even if you can't fully see it yet. You are more equipped than you feel. And you are exactly where you're supposed to be.